My Lords, it might be helpful, excuse me, it might be helpful if I spoke next so that I could update the House on various developments that have taken place since second reading. I'm grateful to the Noble Baroness Lady Thornton for her remarks about the importance of improving data and the importance of that data for women's health. Nearly all of the other points she made were in fact dealt with and debated at second reading, which the Noble Baroness was not able to attend. But the fact is that there is nothing in this bill which exceptionalises abortion, because the statistics on abortion complications have to be collected. There is a requirement already that they be collected under the existing abortion regulations, but they are collected using a system which relies on data provided by the abortion provider. And that might have been sensible when the regulations were put in place. But currently, what has happened since then is that the majority of abortions take place by the use of pills, very often at home. And if there are complications, they are presented, in most cases, at hospitals, at A&E. And they are not part of the abortion national statistics collection system. So those complications, the majority of them, are no longer captured by the current system. Now, the Royal College says it's impossible to capture them, but it seems to be completely unaware of the fact that in November 2023, the Office of Health Improvements and Disparities produced a report which, with some labour, did actually capture them and showed that it could be done. And all that is in this bill is a requirement that that report, which is being treated by the department as a one-off, not to be repeated, that that report should be repeated. So it's completely wrong to suggest this can't be done. It has been done, and it can be done again. I'd like, if I may, because I do want to be brief, and I'm conscious of the words of the Chief Whip before we started, I'd like to move on to some developments that have occurred since second reading, because at the end of second reading, thinking that perhaps the bill wouldn't proceed and there wouldn't be a committee stage, I tabled some written questions on this matter, and I had one reply from the Noble Baroness Lady Twycross on behalf of the Cabinet Office, which effectively introduced me to the Director General for the Office of Statistics Regulation, Mr. Ed Humferson, with whom I have had correspondence since then. And I only wish to quote briefly from his letter to me of the 20th of February, in which he says, perhaps before I say that, I should just remark, as was mentioned at second reading, that these statistics are what are referred to as national statistics, and they're required to comply with the Statistics Code. So in that light, the last compliance check was carried out in 2012. And because of that, he says we have agreed with DHSC that a compliance check of the statistics would be beneficial. So a great deal of what the bill is seeking to achieve is likely now to be pursued by the Office for Statistics Regulation in consultation with DHSC, since I think it's very unlikely that any compliance check would consider that the current system was successfully capturing complications arising from abortions. I'm very pleased, therefore, with what Mr. Humferson has said. I'll go on in his letter a little bit, because my pleasure at his agreement to carry out a compliance check is slightly modified by his timetable and approach, because he goes on to say, we plan to carry out this review in the first quarter of 2026/27, giving and this is the important point, giving DHSC time to undertake its planned developments. These include supporting data providers to move to DHSC's digital submission system and working with digital experts and system users to improve the design of the abortion notification system. Now, I'm certain that the Noble Baroness Lady Thornton and I would be in agreement that that work would be very welcome. My only quibble with Mr. Humferson, and I have written to him to say this, is that I would have thought the sensible thing would be to have the compliance check first in order to identify the deficiencies and agree between DHSC and the regulator what the deficiencies are, and then for the department to invest in the digitization of the collection of the statistics in such a way that they will comply with the regulator's requirements. And I would hope very much that when the Minister comes to reply, she will be able to say that, of course, I'm sure she will say that she will collaborate fully with the Office for Statistics Regulation in their work, because I fully expect the department to do that. It's the responsible thing to do. But I wonder if she could agree that she would consider whether this is being done in quite the right order, and whether it wouldn't be sensible to bring the compliance check forward so that, as I say, the developments then carried out, which will, I'm sure, involve investment and time, are not wasted, but actually achieve what the regulator will be satisfied with at the end of the day.